Welcome, geniuses, to another episode of Not to Interrupt Your Genius.
In my mind is like that carpet.
Here we got my man Ryan. It's Thoughtful Thursday. We out here outside. We're gonna get this conversation popping and see what happens. Stay tuned. You ready to get some stuff off your mind?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, we ain't gonna interrupt y'all genius. This is the saying here. If it don't apply, then let it fly. But if it do, walk it out in truth. That's what we do here at Not to Interrupt Your Genius. So Ryan, I'm gonna give you the floor, my man. Let's pick your brain for a second.
I have a question for you.
Oh.
If I heard your conversation.
Oh. Question.
What do you feel perception is?
Ooh. Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
oh, that was the question. What do I feel perception is? Man, I feel perception. My first instinct wants to say that it's something based not in truth, right? But perception really can be reality. And the reason I say that is, this is my prime example. I love to give people. Matter of fact, we've had this conversation, so I'll use this example. Let's take the sun, right? It rises and it sets. Sunset, sunrise. Beautiful too, right?
Yeah.
We love to watch it. We love to watch it. It goes up, it comes down. Okay? But that's perception. We perceive that the sun is coming up and going down. Sunrise and sunset. When the fact of the nature is we're revolving around the sun, right? Okay. And while we're revolving around the sun, we in our own existence have a rotation, right? If I'm wrong, y'all, somebody let me know. Make sure you get in the comments. Make sure you get at your boy. Get at us. Let us know if we're saying something wrong. So the perception then, because what we believe, we'll say, I'm going to take my lady to this beautiful sunrise. You know what I'm saying? Get up real early. But the reality is, yeah, that's what you're seeing. That's what you're experiencing. But it's not really there. So perception has become reality when in fact, your reality is what you're seeing is false. The perception of what your brain is saying is true or calling it is false. So therefore, I have to say, what is perception? I want to say it's not real, but it can be. Because the fact of the matter is, you are affected. We are affected by perception. This is one way. Police brutality. If they perceive me, if the police perceives me to be a threat because of my skin color, because of my neighborhood, they're gonna treat me different than if they didn't have this perception of me, my area, or my environment, rather to speak. We understand that, right? We call that profiling. But really, it's just a perception. It's the perception that they have that makes fear, or it makes for, hey, happiness. It's your perception of something. What do you think?
I believe that's a very well structured and eloquent answer. What do you feel like influences?
What do I feel like?
Influences perception.
Ah, yes.
I know what I'm made for. I know what I'm made for. I know what I'm made for. I know what I'm
Like,
made
you don't
for.
understand. Like, I love these questions. I wait for somebody just to earnestly ask me these things and not like have a motive to try to treat me up or something. Like, it's beautiful. What do I think? Or rather, at this point in my journey, I will say, what do I know? What I know influences perception are your senses. Perception is not something that comes from within. Perception is dictated by everything outside. period. So perception is dictated by what we see, what we hear, what we smell, maybe what we can taste, right? So understanding that your senses, nothing that is internal. Perception then is not based in your control. So what influences perception then becomes society, big business, whatever is in control, whatever structure is set up that we're following. Because perception is based on everything but you. It ain't based on you. It's not based on me. It's not based on you. That's perception. Because what's in you, and it's funny, we even call it a gut feeling. It's something that originates within you. And you didn't have to see something. You didn't have to hear nothing. It's just something you can be sitting on your own and something will resonate with inside of you. Now that's not perception. So what we have now is this scale. We have perception and the gut feeling. And anytime you have two things on the scale, it is what is spiritually manifested into, well, it is the spiritual manifestation of a choice. Physically, you're gonna have to make a choice. Are you gonna believe that perception is real? And there's nothing wrong. If you're gonna believe that perception is real, then it's gonna be real. Your reality is gonna be there. So many teachings tell us, the Bible and so many others tell us, as a man thinketh, so is he. So we have to understand. But if that gut feeling, if that instinctual talking to you, pointing you towards your greatness, and it may be contrary to what the perception is, what are you gonna do? Because to follow what's inside of you is truth. Perception then becomes a lie. So in that case, perception isn't real. So what is perception? Perception, as long as you're in control and understand the choice you have or the part you play with perception, is whatever you want it to be. It's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever you want it to be. Not to interrupt your genius. Thoughts, my man, thoughts. You got a leg cross here.
Where do you feel like perception comes from?
Wow. And that's crazy. So hence, we was talking about absolutes. And there's no difference here for me. So what influences perception is the same place where it comes from. That's why it's so dangerous. Because its influencer is its source. So understand what I'm saying here. If the influencer is the source, and the source then becomes is your senses. So let's just take what you see. If what I see is this man just beating up this man, I'm like, wow. He taking it a little too far now. It don't even matter what he did. Maybe he taking it a little too far, right? That's what I'm seeing. So the source then is my sight. The influence, it simultaneously, at the same time, at what I'm seeing, I'm being influenced because it's making me feel some type of way. I have to understand that. What influence, the source and the influencer are the same. That's why it's so strong. That's why this is so important, that what we're talking about, I don't think people really understand it. They'll follow perception. and not understanding what they're really following. But the same thing applies when I follow that gut feeling.
So the ability to perceive.
Or the power.
Yeah.
Because that's what the word power means, the ability to do.
Where do you think that comes from? Or what do you think that is?
Man, I swear to God, y'all, I'm not trying to be funny. I swear to God, I'm not trying to be funny. But it's just the answer. And this is not to interrupt your genius. Not to interrupt your genius. But when you get to the core of something, the root, the foundation, like you don't go no further because you can't go no further. You cannot go any further than the foundation. I mean, you can, but you can't stand on it. That's what, I'm not talking about like no basement or something. I ain't talking about like the ground. We talking about that foundation, what we standing on right here in this conversation. And the answer is the same thing as what I've been saying before. It's the same thing. I'm not going to change. And I'm not going to change for sake of me staying consistent, but the truth is consistent. Explain to me how what I said applies to the question that you asked me. And this will prove, if you can take what I have been saying and apply it to your own question through your own knowledge and logic of how you intake the information, right? Not interrupting your genius, just adding to it. You explain to me.
You believe the ability to perceive or the force of perception and the power of perception are the same thing?
No.
So
power and force are two different things.
Right. So with that being said, the power that comes from perception, or that it comes from, and the force where it comes from.
The power and the force. Okay, so the power, we're talking about perception, right? Love it. The power of perception is, the word power means the ability to do. That's all power is, the ability to do. So when we talk about where does the ability of perception come from, it comes from us, the individual, right? Because perception, we use our senses. So if we're using our senses, where are our senses located? Within us. Perception can be so deceiving when not checked properly. So the ability to perceive is within us. That's the power. What was the other part? And the force? Mm-hmm. The force to perceive. The force to perceive is a little bit more intricate, I would say. Like, the force is the follow through. I have the ability to speak. Now, let me use the force of that ability. Do we understand? I have the ability or the power to speak. But not until I actually do it is there a force being put into play. So the force of perception, do you want to know where it derives from or where it isn't?
Where it derives from.
Once again, myself. Most things that we will find, not to interrupt your genius, most things we will find derive within self, pertain to self. And I really want to retract that. All things. There's nothing that does not involve self. We can take that to a whole nother level. We won't right now. No. Because we're talking about perception. So the force of perception comes, once again, that same situation. Me seeing someone just get beat down. That was the ability. My ability is the fact that just that I can see. That's the power. The ability to see. The force of me seeing, and this is what's so dangerous. Because you're saying, well, what action could you have to take? Could you use the punch? So when I see that happening, this person getting beat up, at the same time, a feeling. Wasn't looking for this feeling, wasn't trying to have this feeling. Something's gonna happen. Even if nothing happened, that's a feeling. To not care is a feeling. Because you were previously in a state of neutrality. Now you're in a position of like, they ain't got nothing to do with me. That's a feeling. That's something you are harboring. It's an emotional state. What do you want to call it? I don't know what you call it in your circle. Who knows? I'm not going to try to put a label on it, but I know that's what it is. Okay? So simultaneously, while my perception is at work, a force is coming right behind it, with it. And they look so close that we might often confuse one for the other. But this is the difference between that force. The force still comes from within me. Because I'm the one who is objective in this incident. Even though I'm not the direct object of it, I am the direct object of it. Because of the effect that is taking place in me because of that. So it's no longer about what I'm seeing, it's about what's going on in me. So it's about what I'm taking in, which automatically is your perception. You see that? So you, just by you looking, you're gonna perceive. That's why I say it's you. We talk about perception, yeah, but then it's your choice of perception. Because when you see me, do you see a black man trying to make it, or do you see a nigga? Am I a black man trying to make it, or am I a nigga? How do you perceive me? Because of your perception now, I have to handle you a certain way. But getting back to what I was saying, not to get off track, simultaneously, that perception of what I saw, it creates judgment. Because now I have to judge this situation. Man, he doesn't deserve to be beat like that. I don't know. Maybe that man was doing something to his child or his family. Maybe he was doing something to him. I don't know. We don't know what emotional state that human being receiving the beating put the human giving the beating in. But what I got to do now, just because I look, I got to judge. Whether I judge to say that's too much, or I'm indifferent to the situation. I'm part of it. And depending on what type of judgment I make, depends whether I'm gonna be quiet or if I'm like, hey, right? Depending on my character, a lot of things. So we see, I name all these things not to get off topic, because it's not. I just want you to understand what perception touches. It touches your morals, it touches your character. But at the same time, like a straw, we talked about this, there's an opening on both sides. It's still just one straw. And my thing of it is, one may be in the drink and one be out, and they're having two different experiences, but it's still one straw. have to understand at that point my choices. And then I say, okay, I got a gut feeling. And then I got perception up here, my thoughts. Right? Which one is real? That's the question. That becomes the question. Which one is real? Everything else, because that gut feeling is going to touch your character, your moral. It's going to touch all of those same things that perception can touch. The reason it can is because what those things can touch all depends on what your reality and what your truth is. So hence, and your ability to create, and your ability to be, to exist, and your ability, your power to exist. You are a human being. This is what we say we are, right? The word being is really a compound word, that little word. Be and ing. Be means to exist. Ing, a state or condition of being. Put them together. A being, one who is in a state of existing. Is that not what we're doing? Not to interrupt your genius, being. Are you not currently in a state of existing? So as long as you're existing, you have to understand perception and the gut feeling. That spirit, whatever we want to call it. That vibe, that frequency. I don't know what you believe. You might call it something else. But understand, there's a universal truth to it, no matter what you're calling it. Perception is going to always change because what you see might change. Man, I'm poor, man. I ain't got nothing, man. I ain't got no car. I ain't got nothing, man. But then you get a car, man. I made it, boy. I made it. What was it? Your perception, just because of what you can see. But what if you couldn't see? What would determine if you made it? That's a whole nother question. That's a whole nother way of thinking. So when I allow myself to contrast the two thoughts, I can easily make that comparison. Not saying it makes it easier to apply, but it is something I know. I can be more mindful of it. To not even be mindful of it, I can't do anything with it. All I am is pushed around like a wave, tossed to and fro by perception and what I feel. And that's why we will rally and we will riot, but it won't be sustainable because we won't organize, because we're fighting perception, but we're feeling. I feel like I should do something. Perception says, what can you do? So we try to go with that gut feeling for a little while. We try to go with what's inside of us for a little while. But perception says, man, you gotta get back to work. You gotta pay them bills. Your old lady asking for quality time. You got time to be out there fighting for justice, fighting for what you believe, whatever it may be that's inside of you. I don't know what it is. It can be a variety of things. But all I know is that when perception is pulling you away from that, even if it's your dreams or aspirations, you don't even realize that people want to say war. They say, okay, you're in a spiritual war. Nah, in a war, you fight back. Quit lying to yourself. Quit lying to yourself. We don't call no war, no type of fights where one person is just getting beat, thrown around. That is not a fight or a war. That's just a beat down. So now we're talking about life. And perception then is just beating us up, throwing us around. Well, really, we should have control of it. If we understood what perception was, it wouldn't hit so hard. We'd be able to dodge a lot of that. And that's why I can tell people, I don't have to know you. I can just look at you and tell, oh yeah, perception. Yeah, you're a perception type of person. Put it to you this way. You can come off as not caring about perception. Like, you know what, I ain't affected by it. You know what I'm saying? What bro talking about, I got that, bro. But that could be the perception. The perception that I don't care about perception is what's controlling you. I gotta always be in the place, man. I ain't worried about the war, man. I'm trying to make sure my mental right. But you're only in that state because you're trying not to. You want people to say you don't care about perception. But when the fact of it is, you just don't want to admit that you ignorant to current events. You're ignorant to current events. That's easier to say. Or admit, rather. Or accept. Because that's all we ever do. Life is so simple, man. It's almost like a computer. Ones and zeros type stuff. You either accept it or reject it. Hey Ryan, you're a great guy, man. You're a smart individual. You're real quiet right now, but I know you got a lot of power voiced up over there. You can accept that or reject it. Right? So we have to understand that's a choice. I don't know who. We got so many words for this one particular concept. For this A and B thing. Who made gray? This is what gray is. It used to be, do you want to be my friend? Yes or no? Right? Then it was yes, no, or maybe. Who the fuck put the maybe in there? Sorry. That really just boils my blood. The maybe box. What does maybe mean? Do I write you another note? Perception. Perception says, I want to confuse you. Perception really isn't even about confusing you as much as it is about saying, I want you to see things in this one particular way. And that's the worldview. It might not even be your view, but it's a worldview. So you have to guard yourself. You have to guard yourself against perception. It's like, why are we so scared to just listen to ourselves? It's like you gotta really get hurt, go do some dramatic stuff to be like, I learned to listen to myself. And let me make this TikTok about how just get to get my life. Because I love me. And I had to learn that through abusive people, manipulative people. Like, why it's gotta always be there? Why can't it be like, nah, what Bert just said don't make no sense. What she just said don't make no sense. Nah, I can't fully trust this person. Then we go from, if I can't fully trust them, I don't think I need to really just have them in my circle. Right? And then we don't give them a chance to hurt. But it's not something where we're setting up. It's just like, hey, I got standards. And I can't allow perception because you're so beautiful, or dang, he got so much going on, I'm trying to rock with that crew, to where I let the perception overtake me listening to what my spirit was inside of me is saying. Because when that happens, now I'm not connected to my source. Now I'm not connected to myself. I'm in the hands of being shaped and groomed by whatever my senses are perceiving. And that's very dangerous. That one thing I believe alone, if not fully cured, it will greatly help mental health. People who struggle with mental health, I feel like one of the greatest things we can remind them is like, hey, you matter. There's nobody else like you, so let's get to know you. But we can only do that if you just show us. Forget what else been said, like, they just don't understand, like, show them. The courage to really believe that, like, are we talking to people like this? Are we talking to ourselves like this? I mean, I know a lot of people do daily affirmations with a little calming voice. You are great. You are awesome. Today is your day. You are loved. You are understood. Prosperity is coming your way. But are we really out there like, hey, it's okay not to be okay? Sometimes I'm not okay. I started doing this podcast, hosting material, because I wasn't okay. I wasn't okay not being heard. So we take in all of that. And I was blocking out perception because what I was seeing, what I was hearing was telling me, you just need to get it together. You need to just quit blaming everybody. Who am I blaming? Who am I blaming? You just got issues, don't we all? Sorry. So I had to start blocking it out. And what I was saying, when I got to me, I was like, man, what's wrong with me? You know, the first thing myself said to me, who said something was wrong with you? Well, why do I feel like this? Why do you feel like this? It just hurt when they say stuff like, why are you listening to that? I don't know. Yes, you do. Why am I seeking their acceptance? Why are you seeking their acceptance? And then you get to a point where you realize, it's like, man, I've been around people like I haven't even really been me. Because I can't. I've been around people and I can't even be me. Or is it I'm around people and I refuse to be me? That hurts. I don't care what you say right now. Rewind that one. Not to interrupt your genius. Was it you couldn't be you? Or you refused to be you? Not to interrupt your genius. If we're gonna talk about something, it's gonna be real. If we're gonna talk about something, it's gonna be worth your time. It's gonna be worth your energy. I look at y'all like y'all are myself. Every last viewer, every last person hearing this, watching this. And I wouldn't just sit here and just let myself think some BS. Like, let's talk about what we're really thinking. Let's talk about what's really going on. What are the things really driving our choices and the things that we are accepting and rejecting in life, in our spirits, in our hearts, in our speech, in our businesses, in our finances, in our kids, in our spouses, in our friends, whatever it may be. This is not my genius. Remember, not to interrupt your genius. This is the people show. I ain't gonna give the people that I feel is false. I ain't gonna give the people that I feel is straight. I'd rather die than do that. I done been told my whole life I need to be quiet. That was perception. Perception was telling me to be quiet. Why? Because I had something to say. Because I had to link up with people who had something to say. I'm a people person. I can make friends real easy. Not to brag on me, but I understand that plays in the gift. It's not something I acquired, it was given to me. I can't brag on that. I ain't worked for it. I was born that way. I was born with a smile on my face. I was born like, what's up? Right, what up? What up? What up? Like, I was born like that, like just goofy, silly, but I also wanting to know. Like, listening. What the hell are they talking about? Like, understanding. Well beyond my years. Like, I want to give people something that they can hold on to. I want to give people something that they can know. It's like, damn, I was thinking that. Like, okay, I see what he's saying. I ain't never thought about it like that. If we can get to that stage, because this is what I'm saying. When I see people as myself, I feel like when I'm talking to y'all out here, like when y'all watching this, I feel understood. I don't really feel like I have to go in depth. I'm just gonna say what's on my mind. I'm gonna give the examples to what I'm saying. I'm gonna try to show and prove of like what my thinking, this process, this following the feeling of how, because your feelings and your thinking should be in line. They really shouldn't be opposing each other. Because if we'll say our feelings is here and our mind is here, and so many teachings and tell us like a house divided can't stand. The Bible says a house divided cannot stand. So if this right here is a part of the body, and this feeling, the spirit I got that is in the body, is still a part of the body. If they ain't in line, how the body gonna function? And if the body can't function, how can I manifest anything of productivity? How can I manifest anything in truth or in absolute value? How? The only way I can is if I listen to perception, because my senses will tell me if I realign this and I adjust this, then I'm straight. And then you wonder why, under the false imprints of impression, we out here killing each other. We out here cheating on our queens. We out here cheating on our kings. We out here disrespecting our kids. And I'm sorry, and not to interrupt your genius, but somebody told me we really shouldn't call our children kids, because a kid is a baby goat, and a goat is a very stubborn animal, and it's almost you're speaking the life and energy of stubbornness into a child or this young being. When you say, hey kid, calling it a stubborn little baby goat. That same spirit. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of stretching. It's kind of stretching. Let me be honest, that was the first thing I thought. But the more I let it really marinate in, I was like, yeah, the power of a word. Because my intentions might not be I don't have any control over what that energy of that word. And when you open the door, you don't get to control what comes in. That door open. If I open my door right now, it's bugs and like little wasps, man. It's getting that time of year. It's wasps and stuff out here. They can just fly in and out, and I can't. I can shed it, then the door ain't gonna be open. So you can't be. You know what I'm saying? You got to be mindful when you choose to open doors. Be prepared.
When Luther draw last two are not an option. Mama told me, son, you got